hell is that? Is that you?
Shut the door with my
Is that
foot.
you or the dog?
Me.
It's like the dog is violently trying to get in. Maybe just let him in. Here we go. Hello and welcome back. This is Don't Watch at Night, a spooky little podcast One more time for the top. Hello and welcome back. This is Don't Watch at Night, a spooky little podcast dedicated to Spanish language horror and Latin American horror. I'm your host, Valerie.
And I'm Veronica.
Your hair looks nice. You just did that little swishy swish, and that looked nice.
No.
You hurt your neck, didn't you? Yeah. How's it going?
I'm tired, to be honest.
No joke. I'm tired too. I woke up. I did a little cat nap. I woke up like 30 minutes ago. And as soon as we're done recording, I'm going to go to bed.
No, but this is my second. I don't know why. It sounds muffled.
Can you hear?
like it. No, I can hear you, but it sounds like when you have like a head cold.
Oh.
And like you're listening to something like through cotton or.
Yeah.
You can hear me okay?
I can hear you okay.
Okay.
My mic was giving me issues again right before recording, so maybe I did something and I'm impacting how you're hearing me. I don't know. But
no.
Yeah.
I can hear you. It's how I hear myself.
You're on week 2 of
having to go back into the office, and I'm just not used to having to wake up at 5 a.m. anymore.
Well, you said it's like an hour drive there, right?
Pretty much, but in traffic.
So 2-hour round trip every day.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks.
I mean, I did it for years before I got this job that was working from home, but
yeah, I guess like when I think about it, yeah, when I worked downtown, it was like an hour to get there and an hour to get home every day. So I guess makes sense. Yeah, no, as you know, Veronica and I have been trying to record. Welcome to book club episode, by the way. We're talking book club, and we'll get to it in just a second. But we've been trying to record this episode for like a number of days now, and so we're recording on a Thursday night. And I'm exhausted just because I don't know if I think I've told you this, but like this season of parenting, kind of the worst. just like you're running like when they're young. I'm gonna go on a mom rant for a minute. When they're young, it's a different kind of exhausting because they need you all the time, and you're new to it, and everything is kind of it takes up all of you all the time. And then when they get to this stage, they're more self-sufficient in a lot of ways, but then it's just a lot of you driving them everywhere, doing this, doing that, all kinds of things, pulling our schedule in all kinds of different directions on top of our own stuff, our own personal stuff. So, what was that? Did you hurt yourself?
Yes, I hit my ankle bone on this wooden desk.
Okay. Maybe just settle down over there. So anyway, I'm tired. I'm pissy. I'm ready for sports to be over. I'm ready for school to be done. I'm over it. So, yeah. But anything else you care to report? I guess we can just.
Nope.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is so, guys. If you're, we do have a couple of new folks subscribe to the show. Thank you so much for joining our little community here. I will give you just a little bit of a brief intro into what we do. Kind of set it up top, but we are a podcast that really focuses on lifting up Spanish language horror films and Latin American horror films. We also periodically sprinkle in our episodes with book club. And so you are listening to a book club episode right now. We picked out a book a couple months ago now, and we give you plenty of time to read through it so that you can then come to the book club episode and join and listen to the conversation. So Veronica and I are not book reviewers. We're not professional film reviewers. We're just fans of horror. And so we started this podcast. Well, coming up on our 2nd year anniversary. We started this podcast 2 years ago this coming summer, and we've been going strong ever since. So welcome. And I guess now with every book club comes a cocktail pairing. So I guess now we can get to the drink segment.
This
is
my favorite.
This is notoriously the segment where Veronica's eyes glaze over. She's not an imbiber, which is fine. But so we'll get to that and talk a little bit about that. But disclosure, I'm not imbibing this evening. I've been feeling really, really run down. Like I just told Ronnie, I just woke up. I fell asleep in the closet. I like laid down in the closet because I was so tired and I nodded off for like 20 minutes. So as soon as we're done recording, I'm probably gonna go to bed and live to fight another day. But I did bring stuff here to the office so that I can talk about the drink that we paired for this book. So we're gonna fully announce the book in a little bit, but for those of us who know what we're talking about the book Fever Dream. And if you've read Fever Dream, then you know that mate is mentioned a few times in the story. And not all of our book club beverages work so directly. What am I trying? What did I write here? Yeah, not all of our book club beverages work so directly with the books. But sometimes if a particular spirit is mentioned in the book or like maybe a specific region, I do try to see if I can find something that pairs well and correlates with that. So I was able to find a drink that features mate. And so I do want to just tell you a little bit for those of you who just recently learned what mate is. I would like to give you a little bit of information on it. Ronnie, you've heard of mate before?
I don't even remember that it was mentioned in the book.
Okay.
No, I've never heard of it.
It comes up a couple times. It's mentioned more than once. So
Mate.
I didn't know what it was until honestly that Meghan Markle or Meghan Sussex, I believe is what she goes by now. That show on Netflix. I watched that and she has an episode where her like lifestyle show. She has a new lifestyle. It's real cute. I watched it. I'm a big fan of it. I'll have to look it up, but I don't remember what the name of it off the top of my head is. Is it called As If? It's not called As If.
I didn't even know she had a show, so I have no idea.
It's just like a lifestyle show, and there's cooking, and there's think Ina Garten. Think what's her face? What's her face? Martha Stewart. Why am I blanking on everything? I can't find it right now, but it's there. I'll find it. But anyway, it's a cute show, and on every episode she has like some different. Sometimes it's a chef or some sort of expert in their field. Sometimes it's a famous friend, whatever. And so on this particular episode, she had some well-known friend she has who I want to say is from Argentina, but don't quote me on that. I don't know. But anyway, mate. So a little bit about it. Also called yerba mate. It's a tea beverage, really known and popular in South American regions. It's brewed from dried leaves of an evergreen shrub or tree that's related to the holly. It does contain caffeine, but it's less astringent than most other teas. It's like I said, it's common in a lot of South American regions, really common in Argentina. The author herself of this book, Fever Dream, Samanta Schweblin, is Argentinian as well. It has roots in Guarani in the Guarani indigenous peoples of South America. But according to Britannica.com, Veronica, it was a plant that's also been cultivated by Jesuit missionaries. And I mentioned that because we just had the passing of the Pope, who was a Jesuit. So, RIP, shout out to the Pope. Okay. The preparation of mate is special. And so if you watch the Meghan Sussex show, you probably got to see some of that process. What you do is you fill a container with the leaves. I think this container is called a calabash. I keep wanting to say calabasa, but it's a gourd. And so you pour hot water over the leaves and you drink it through a metal straw that I think is called a bombilla. And that acts as a filter so that you're getting the tea and not the leaves, because it's just like loose leaves. It's not like tea bags. You can get mate in tea bags if you want to, but traditionally it's made this way. So what is customary is that this is something that happens with friends or loved ones. This is a social beverage. It's a social experience. And so there's one person who prepares the tea, and it's also pretty common for that person to drink the first brew to ensure that the quality is good for guests. And so I like that. And then like after that, they make subsequent brews for their guests. So it's a nice display of hospitality and caretaking. So uh I went online and I found, but by the way, I should tell you, if you haven't had mate, it's very earthy. And so I didn't find, and I'll explain more when I get into the cocktail, but I didn't find any mate tea. But I did find this, and I'll mention it when we get to the cocktail itself. But this is Guayaquil's yerba mate. It's like
Mm.
canned, and you can get, I think, the original flavor. This one is flavored. This one's Bravo mango. So, and then like I have another one I think it says like something berry. So you can get different flavors, and so it does have this one is sweetened. You can get it unsweetened, but that one has a little bit of sweetness to it. So, what I found online is that the earthiness of the mate tea would work best with a smoky mezcal. So, we're having mate meet mezcal. And the name of the drink I went and found off of prooftv.bar is called the wake up call, which is nice because when you're coming out of a fever dream, you need a wake up call.
Mm.
So I would classify the wake up call as more of a mixed drink, albeit it's an elevated mixed drink than a cocktail. And for those of you who don't know, the difference between the two being that a mixed drink is going to be your base spirit and then some kind of mixer like juice or soda, and your cocktail will have slightly more complex fusion of ingredients and flavors and so forth. So the wake up call is a mixed drink to me, and it starts with the, what is it, Guayaquil yerba mate, which is like, I'm holding it up for people who get the video episode and for Veronica, but for our people on Patreon who get the video episode, you can see it. And they sell this in most grocery stores. I was able to find it no problem here. It's pre-brewed chilled mate, comes in those yellow cans, and has a lot of fun flavors, and it does have a little bit of sugar in it already. So the recipe off of this website, and we always link this stuff for you guys in show notes, it calls for 1.5 ounces of mezcal. The mezcal that I used is one that we've used before. It's the I don't know how you say this, Del Maguey Single Village Mezcal. It's the Chichicapa. They have different labels. So this one is the Chichicapa label, and this one you can pick up at Total Wine. So 1.5 ounces of mezcal, 1 ounce of the canned yerba mate. Then you're going to do a 1/4 ounce of mate syrup. So what you would do is you would go and you would get mate tea bags, and then how you make your simple syrup, equal parts water, equal parts sugar. You simmer that on the stove, drop your tea bags in there so that you're doing essentially a tea infused simple syrup. So you're getting that extra flavor of mate in the drink. And so then you would finish this off with a 1/4 ounce of fresh lime juice, 1/2 ounce pineapple juice, and some chocolate bitters. I know that sounds weird, but that's what the recipe calls for. This is the kind that we typically always have on hand. We use Fee Brothers Aztec chocolate bitters. A note about the lime juice and the pineapple juice: if you get a yerba mate that is like flavored, like this one's Bravo mango, you could conceivably skip that step because this is already, it has a juice flavor to it. It doesn't taste quite as earthy as natural mate does. So you throw this all in a shaker, shake it up with ice, and then you strain into an old-fashioned glass with a large ice cube. So, like I said, I'm not drinking that tonight because I'm just feeling very run down. So I'm just drinking tea. But I will tell you, I have sampled this at a previous day, and I did have to make some adjustments. So I'm just going to tell you what some of those adjustments were. I could not find mate tea bags anywhere. I went to multiple grocery stores and I struck out. So I had to do a tea infusion with the tea that I'm drinking tonight. As a matter of fact, it's Harney and Sons Hot Cinnamon Sunset, which is just basically a black tea with what quote unquote warming spices. So I did that, and it's really tasty. This tea is delicious. I love it. It tastes a lot like the tea that our mother used to make for like New Year's and stuff, for like special occasions. It's like a cinnamon flavor to it. So and if you make this particular tea infusion that I did, this simple syrup would go really well in an old fashioned. So, two cocktails with one simple syrup. But yeah, and then the other variant that I did was I didn't use an original flavor can. I did the Bravo Mango. So those are the modifications I made. We'll link that for you guys. The mocktail version of this is honestly just to enjoy the Guayaki yerba mate by itself. It's not carbonated. So that was the other thing I was going to say. It's not carbonated. You can shake it up in the cocktail shaker and not have it fizz everywhere. But I've tried this on its own too, and it's really good. I like it. I like it flavored. Like I said, I've not had it original flavor, and I wasn't able to find mate tea bags. So in actuality, I have not tried mate myself yet, original. So I can't vouch for it, but it pairs really well with the mezcal. So enjoy it, and cheers to you when you toast to this and listen to book club episode. I will make the drink this weekend and post photos of it on our social media. So that's it, Ron. what did you learn? I'm kidding. But yeah, no, I should have brought the tea. This Harney and Sons fine teas, they have some really cool
Harney
with an N. Harney and Sons. And it comes in a really cool tin container that you can keep. I think they're cool. But this is so delicious. I love it. I have it. So
you put milk in it?
I put milk in it and a little bit of sugar. So I like it. But all right. Well, that's it for that. So I guess we can launch into second segment. So I'm just going to intro the book and then we can get right into it. So our latest book club pick, guys, was Fever Dream by Samanta Schweblin. This is a book that was published in 2014, and then the English translation came out in 2017. So it's been out there for a while, but neither Veronica nor I had read it. So we were excited to read it. So here's a little short description of the book, and then we can go from there. A young woman named Amanda lies dying in a rural hospital clinic. A boy named David sits beside her. She's not his mother. He's not her child. Together, they tell a haunting story of broken souls, toxins, and the power and desperation of family. So, Veronica, give me your opening thoughts on what you thought of this book. Veronica had to tell me like 3 or 4 times that you did the audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So give me your opening thoughts on it.
Well, I mean, it's really short.
What was that? How long was the audiobook?
I think I pretty much finished it in the commute, either to work or from work. I don't remember. Probably to work. But yeah, and I listened to it last week, so and it was. I can only speak obviously to my experience as an audiobook listener listening to this on audiobook. I had wanted to, because I couldn't find a physical copy. None of my libraries had it, and Barnes and Noble, none of my local bookstores had it.
Mm-hmm.
So I went with the audiobook route. And it probably would have lent itself better to reading the book, the words myself. Because I don't know. I was pretty confused. I mean, I was following along, but then the ending came and I was like, wait, what? What happened? That's it?
That's it? Excuse me?
So, I mean, it was interesting. And I will say, like, an important thing for an audiobook narrator to do is to be consistent with the voices that they give to different characters. And with the David character, the voice that she gave him didn't always match. So sometimes I was like, wait, now who's talking now?
Oh.
Because it was slightly different than, like, sometimes it sounded more feminine and I was like, wait, who's talking?
Well, that's interesting. Well, as we get into it and talking about what the book is about, I wonder if that was a deliberate choice. We'll have to, because I have, there are some questions I found online related to some of the book that's interesting. Having not listened to the audiobook, that kind of almost reveals something that a lot of people I found online suspected. So, but you liked it, or whatever, you thought it was interesting?
Yeah, it was interesting.
General. Yeah. I thought it was really, really interesting, really cool concept. And it's the kind of thing where it's like, man, you could almost take this concept and turn it into a whole show. Kind of like, what's that show? Black Mirror? I don't know. One of those shows. But yeah, this was one of because of because of its shortness. This was one of those books that I started reading and then just boom, I finished it in like an afternoon of just the amount of time I spend sitting in cars waiting for kids to get out of places. I had plenty of time to just read, so I was just reading it all, and I finished it in an afternoon. But yeah, the brevity of it obviously makes you want more, and you're just like, no, it can't end this way. So, but I don't know, like, what are your like? I don't know if this is classified as a novella. I would classify it as one. What is
Mhm.
your general? Do you like novellas? Do you read?
I don't read a lot of novellas or short stories just because I don't feel like I ever really sink into the
Mhm.
characters or yeah, it just feels like a quick, it's like an appetizer. It's okay, but it's not really filling.
Yeah, yeah,
It's-
yeah. Well, and like
so,
inevitably, I don't know if this is always like I do enjoy reading them, but yeah, I think it's a lot of times you get an incomplete picture and you
mhm,
kind of just have to receive it as like, well, okay, that was that moment and now that moment's over.
yeah.
So but sometimes that can like I thought this was really compelling and so um I think the incomplete picture of it is almost what made it so compelling because I told you at the time, I don't know if you remember, but I told you at a previous episode that I had finished it and that I was still sitting with it. So I mean it really after I finished it reading it um it I really thought I thought about it all the rest of the evening. I was just thinking about it and just kind of sitting like I said, sitting with it for a while. And then, time passes and just like you, like I'm a goldfish. It just leaves my brain. but but I thought it was good. I thought it was really really interesting. So, were there any like we came across some stuff, reviews, things that pose interesting questions that we link for you guys, like we always do. But and I certainly did jot down some of the ones that I wanted to ask you. But were there any questions that stood out to you coming out of this that you had or wanted to pose?
Well, I'm just confused and maybe I missed it. Trying to avoid an accident or something in my drive. The whole she's in a clinic, she's dying, and David, was he there? Was he really not there? Was this just all in her mind? It was just
That's what
confused.
that's what people discuss online. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I was like,
that's
maybe I missed something somewhere.
that's one of the things. So was that a question that in one of the resources um there is that question that comes up multiple times. Is David a hallucination? Is Nina, her daughter, is Nina a hallucination? Are Amanda and Carla the same person, really just transmigrating between each other in some kind of fever dream? So there are a lot of people that I came across both online and on like Goodreads who felt the same way. It's just like, is any of this really happening? And there's a line she says, where did I find it? Somebody quoted it. There's a line she says, I don't know that I saved it, where she kind of, hold on. I'm going to find it. I have to find it. Maybe it's from the Guardian piece. I don't. Okay. Yes. Okay. Um, when Amanda doubts whether any of this is happening or really happened the way she remembers it, this is a seed that the author Schweblin plants variants of throughout the book. I think she even tells him, or at one point she asks him, I'm trying to find the exact quote and I can't. But, at one point, David tells her, it's happening, Amanda. I'm kneeling at the edge of your bed in one of the rooms at the
Hmm.
emergency clinic. We don't have much time. And before time's out, we have to find the exact moment. They keep talking about the exact moment. So, yeah, I mean,
What exact moment?
yeah, well, yeah, it's like, there's an urgency that's laced throughout the book of just like you're building towards
I
the
know
end of something. You're running out of time. You have to find the exact moment.
well, and he keeps saying, that's not important. You're missing what's important or
Yeah,
things
yeah,
to that effect. And I'm like, well, what is it? Why don't you just say it?
Why don't you just
Spit
tell
it
me
out.
what matters, David?
Spit it out, man.
Yeah, he says that. That's also quoted. None of this is important, he keeps saying. Um, one of the things that I had marked, this is from that Guardian piece. Early in the book, Amanda talks about the rescue distance. It comes up a couple of times. And actually, the rescue distance, and one of the other things I read, that was the Spanish title of the book. And then like in the translation, it became Fever Dream. But early in the book, Amanda talks about the rescue distance, which is the variable safe distance between Amanda and Nina at any one time. So I wanted to ask you, does the rescue distance represent anything more for you beyond what's explained in the book? Like the novel describes it in terms of like a rope, something that tethers Amanda and Nina together. And then as the connection is giving way towards the end, the rope is starting to break. So I was just curious to know if like that resonated with you in any way, or if you...
I think it probably resonates with any parent. I mean, we all have that, where we're, especially when not so much, it changes as your children get older. Obviously, my kids are, early 20s, mid to late teens. But certainly when they're little, you have that rescue distance where you're watching them toddle off and, okay, they're getting too close to that step, or they're,
Yeah.
you're kind of timing in your head, like how fast can I get to them before,
Yeah.
calamity happens.
Yeah. One of the obvious questions, which I don't know if like you picked up on it or had different things come through for you with the reading of it, but similarly, people asked online, like, what's causing David's illness and the other children in the village for that matter? Like, what are your thoughts on the way the book depicts? This is, again, these are questions I'm pulling from different sources. What are your thoughts on the way the book depicts the state of agriculture there? It seems like the agriculture in this community is like the big business. And so it's just sort of like at the expense of the rural people in this community. It's putting toxins in the, like, what do you think has made these children ill? Is it something that's in the water? Is it something that's like, the book refers to it as worms. It feels like worms.
After finishing it, I think I came across something that, because I went into this like I do with the movies. I didn't have any clue what this was about, other than it's, in the horror genre somewhere on the spectrum. But I knew nothing about it. But after reading it, I did, obviously come across some things that I guess, if you have to put a label on it, would slot it under something like eco horror. And so then obviously that would have been the author's intention, is to point towards things that we do to the environment that are causing these sicknesses in the children of the village, or just people of the village in general, and specifically of David. But when I was listening to the audiobook and having no knowledge that that's where this was going, all her little subtle, obviously the horse is drinking from the water where there's a dead bird, or was it a bird?
Like a duck. Yeah, I think it was a duck.
That's something in the water. But I missed, I'll just be totally honest, I totally missed all the little hints about clues that might have pointed me towards, this is about environmental
Did
factors.
you think there?
I was really pretty much looking for like supernatural forces.
Well, because like so I feel like we're talking about something we read so long ago. But it was just like, do you remember the lady who does the ritual? I don't know, like in the greenhouse or whatever. I'll just call it the ritual because I don't know what else to call it. But yeah, I got the vibe that there must be something sort of supernatural going on, because when what's the lady's name? Carmen?
Which one?
Not Amanda, but the lady she's talking to, Carla. Because when Carla's relaying the story of what happened to David, and she describes David coming down the hallway after the ritual that this lady did, and David just seems not like himself at all at that point. I was just thinking, man, what the hell's going on in this little community? The
Mm,
the devil's in this community.
mm.
But yeah, I definitely thought that there was something really. I thought it was an interesting combination of environmental toxins interlaced with potentially something supernatural coming out of the end of this book. Now, do you? I don't necessarily think it's something. I don't know that it's something supernatural, but it is definitely when we're talking about
Well, I don't know if I
souls
don't
migrating.
I
Then
don't know that the cause of the sickness was supernatural, but definitely that lady's
yeah,
cure
something's happening. Yeah,
cure or her fix for the problem is supernatural. Assuming that was real, assuming she actually could transmit, that's what it sounded like, right? Like David's soul would go into another body
right,
and
right.
his
And then
body
like,
would be
and you
inhabited
wouldn't
by I don't know
necessarily,
what.
yeah, and you wouldn't necessarily have any control over where it goes or who he crosses with.
Hmm.
So yeah, yeah. And then like, so that's
But was
his.
she successful, or did Carla just from then on, because that seed was planted in her mind that her son was going to be different? Is that all then she saw was the differences
Yeah, like
when it was
she.
really just her son?
Right. That's interesting. That's interesting. So it's just because like there's a few
Like, I don't know, man. It's all smoke and mirrors. I
there's
don't
a
know what's
few
real.
things we came across that referred to like Carla's belief in the occult. And so like
Hmm.
that lady, the greenhouse lady is like of the occult. I don't even full confession here. I don't even remember the occult being mentioned. I guess that's what that is, but I guess I'm meant to infer that based off of what she actually goes and does, but I don't even remember an actual reference to the occult. But anyway, yeah, that's a good theory is like maybe that's just all in her head. The seed is planted there by this other person
Hmm.
and her belief system, and so Carla just buys into it, hook, line, and sinker, and
Yeah,
believes that
because
her.
just because that lady says I can do this doesn't mean she actually can do it.
Yeah. Um, and then like what was weird coming out of that is like uh all the dead
Hmm.
animals that um were buried around their house that she believes David had a hand in killing or whatever.
Hmm.
And I think later on in the book he describes it as like I didn't kill
Hmm.
them. I don't
Might have
know.
just been there drinking the water
Right.
or
I
eating
guided them, kind of like
eating.
how what he does with Amanda. I guided them over or something. So interesting. Okay, hold on. Let me I did that. Um did you have any questions before I go digging
Well,
around
just
for
like
other
what
stuff?
was happening at the end, like her husband came because she was just there with Nina.
Yeah. So
Like it
like
was a vacation trip, and he was going to be coming later because he
he
was
was
still
going to be
working in the
coming
city.
later, and so then what happens is, and so I did the ebook, so I can easily like I guess pull up the
And what
text.
happened to Carla? Did she live? Did she die? I mean,
I don't know. I think she either died or she ran. She like decided that uh the little girl went back to her father. The body anyway went back to her father.
so
Amanda,
Nina died too.
no, because see at the end of the book, he has shown back up to. Is that the dog?
Yes,
I just see the door like flying open. um, he at the end of the book. What is the father's name?
I don't. Did they say? Did they ever
I don't
say his
know.
name?
The father goes back to talk to David's father about like, hey, she's healing and she's recovering and everything, but she's not quite the same. And David's father is like, yeah, none of them are the same. I can't explain why either. You just have to. This is your reality now. Um, and so I get the sense that yeah, her body
Mm.
is back home with him recovering, but as I think and as I think other people online also feel, the Nina's spirit or soul, whatever essence is now in David. Did you feel that way too?
No,
Listening to
not
no,
at all.
no. Okay, but hang on, hang on.
Well, why would she be in David?
Well, because I'm gonna read to you the ending sections. No, sorry. I bought the audiobook. I didn't buy the. No, that's a sample. Never mind. Okay, here we go. It was like I bought the audiobook. No, I didn't. Um, let me. Okay, hold on. I did think the ending was kind of beautiful. Like there's a certain point where Amanda is dying or whatever, and so the narration kind of gets taken over with David filling in the rest of the story. So this is David telling her, Amanda, this is going to be the last effort. This is the last thing that will happen. So he's telling her, pay attention, Amanda. This is the last thing that you're going to see now. This is the last thing that will happen. And she's saying, yes, I see him. It's my husband. He's driving our car. He's entering the town now. Is this really happening? And he says, don't interrupt the story. So don't waste any more time talking to me, he says. So the father gets there. He goes. He's talking to David's father. May I speak with you? Father offers him mate, but then doesn't actually give it to him. And Nina's father notices hanging on the wall behind them, there are two pictures. There's a bunch of things that David has attempted to tidy up. He's attempted to like hang things and clean things and tend to the house. And, you know, Nina's father's just trying to get answers. He says, do you know what happened? What happened to Nina? And the father, David's father, says, you know, there's nothing I can tell you. Okay, hold on. There you have it, says, there you have it, says, what? Says your father, pouring another mate, and again not offering any to my husband. Okay, because this is Amanda talking. I'm sorry. There you have it, says David's father. As you can see, I would also like to have someone to ask. So as you see, like, here's David doing all this weird crap. You wait quietly, attentive to my husband, and now he's starting to tie everything. Your father points toward the living room where many more things are hanging from rope or tied together with it. Now my husband's attention is focused on that. It doesn't seem like a disproportionate number of things. It seems more like, in your own way, talking to David, you were trying to do something with the deplorable state of the house and everything in it. So, yada, yada, yada. As Nina's father is leaving and preparing to get to his car, David has finagled his way into the back seat. And the reason why I and other readers I came across online thought maybe Nina was now in David is because David curls up with her stuffed animal that had been left in the back seat and curls up, you know, crisscross applesauce, the same way that Nina used to sit in the back seat. And David is staring up at him kind of just with like these hopeful eyes, and you kind of get the sense that she is begging for her father to recognize her in this boy, and he doesn't. I mean, the tragedy of it is that he doesn't, and he just asks David to get out of the car, and David goes back into the house with that father, and her actual father drives off. And that's the way the book ends, is, you know, that's the end. So you didn't pick up on that?
No, but why would Nina be in David?
Because, so remember, like, Amanda and Nina both get sick. And Amanda, I think Carla took Nina to Greenhouse Lady and she performed the ritual. I think Carla even says this in the story. Like, she confesses to Amanda that she had no choice to do that, to try to save the little girl, versus Amanda just goes to the hospital and is being treated at the clinic there. So Carla takes Nina to Greenhouse Lady. Greenhouse Lady performs a ritual on Nina. And so that's how the switch happens.
Well, then what happens to whatever soul was already inhabiting David from when the switch was done on him?
I don't know. I don't know how many souls David can hold. Maybe he holds many souls. I don't know. But yeah, like that. And then so Amanda, when she dies, she just dies because she didn't have the ritual done on her. Maybe it's like an age thing. Maybe you get to a point where you're just too old for the ritual to be done on you. But yeah, because in the book, Carla does let her know that. She's like, I'm sorry, da 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 da. It was what had to be done, says Carla. It's happening now. Why are Nina's hands covered in mud? What do my daughter's hands smell? This is all what it says. But yeah. So yeah. That's that. I was wondering what you thought of that ending and if you thought also, but it sounds like you didn't even make that connection. So
No. Well,
so
that's why
yeah.
I said it probably would have lent itself better to having read it myself, but I just didn't have time to.
Some people were wondering if like if it's all just some sort of afterlife. I don't know.
Is that why you were asking or commenting on it was interesting that I was saying the audiobook narrator that at times when
right, because
it was like, David sounded a little more feminine.
Yeah, because if that's the case, if Nina is in him, then maybe that was the narrator trying to portray that a little bit. I don't know. So yeah. That's interesting.
Still very strange. I think I would have liked the ritual distance title better.
The rescue distance.
Rescue distance.
What
did I say?
Ritual distance.
Ritual distance.
The rescue distance. Yeah.
As a title better.
It sounds cool. It sounds cool. And I thought that there was going to be more to that. I also thought there was going to be.
I'm sure if it had been like a full length novel.
Yeah.
She could have delved more into all these little things that.
I also thought there was going to be more to the worms because they keep mentioning the worms.
Yeah.
It feels like worms. And I was just like, what happens when the worms get inside you? But this is, again, one of those stories that I think talks about death and kind of crossing over in such a beautiful way. I really thought that those ending sequences where David is trying to guide Amanda to see the last thing that she's supposed to see clearly, although I don't know what the purpose of that is. It's like, do you believe, now knowing what we've talked about, that probably Nina is inside David now, do you believe, this was another question that came up, that it's Nina talking to Amanda in the clinic this whole time, trying to guide Amanda towards this realization? There are a lot of readers who felt that way about it, and I guess coming out of reading it, certainly that seems likely, because why would David care so much to guide Amanda through this discovery? It would be Nina who would care. Although, why is she trying to guide Amanda?
How old was Nina in this book, though?
I mean, I got the sense younger than David, but very smart. She mentions that in the book. She's very smart. She's very communicative and I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for? Wise for her age. But I would have to believe that it would be Nina trying to guide Amanda because she's the one who would care. But I guess, like, what's the point of guiding Amanda towards this realization when there's nothing she can do about it? She's dying, you know? I don't know. You have nothing to say?
Well,
I want your deep thoughts. Give me your deep thoughts.
I mean, I don't know. I can't, because if that's the last thing that if she makes that realization, if she makes that connection, if what you're saying, if what this theory holds true, then what she's witnessing is she's making this connection and she's seeing her husband unintentionally abandoning their daughter.
Yeah, but she can't do anything about that. She's dying.
So I'm like, why would you want to make her watch that?
Maybe she was trying to guide Nina. No, maybe Nina was trying to guide Amanda, who's dying, to get her soul to come to Nina? Like, come be with me inside David's body and we'll be together? I don't know.
No,
that would be the only resolution that would make sense. Otherwise, it's just like
there's no mechanism for that to happen.
Well, I mean,
she's in the clinic. She's not at the greenhouse with the lady.
But souls transmigrate. It's transmigration. Whatever. Like, it's never explained to us how this ritual happens.
But there's a ritual. It's not like Nina can just say, "Oh, I'm going to hop over to that body now." on
I
her
don't
own.
know. I don't know. I mean, we never see the ritual. I don't know what the ritual is. Maybe it's just this old lady taking you through guided meditation. Um, so yeah, but there were a number of people who felt like I do think that, yeah, it's got to be Nina who's talking to Amanda, because I can't see why David would care so much to try to guide Amanda through that realization. Because what does he care? He doesn't know that woman. I'm trying to think. I think
And
that
why go to that roundabout way and never actually just come out and say, "Hey, mom, it's me, Nina," and spend those last few moments talking to her as Nina instead of, I don't know. It's an
well,
interesting theory, but
because then you don't
in
have a
the
story. Every
well,
book has to then you don't have a book. Then it's just like
but then you have a story that has like practical elements that are like, okay, but why? Why would you do it that way? It doesn't make sense.
um well, I mean, I think I don't know that I don't know that practicality is the thing we would be playing with in this particular story, but I don't know. I think maybe there's a good chance Amanda would, who isn't even, she spends most of the book very confused, very disoriented. There's a good chance she wouldn't even comprehend what Nina would be trying to tell her if she were to come out and say, "Hey, mom, it's me. I'm trapped inside this boy's body." So I don't know. Maybe she's just trying to guide her soul to this place, but why is a mystery that we don't get to know.
Mm.
Um, let me see. I think, is there anything you wanted to say about this particular article that I have linked? Has a big old review on um, the disease, what is the toxins, whatever. So um, we'll link that for you guys for sure.
Must have worked really fast, whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, you get this. It's that it happens really fast because, like, with that horse, how it starts, like with that horse that drank from the stream and then, like,
Hmm.
pretty promptly got sick. And then David pretty promptly got sick in the space that Amanda and Nina were sitting in the grass watching those men do stuff. That's when, like, they started falling ill almost immediately. I
Hmm.
guess the thing that I kind of found interesting is, like, how is it that Carla, who's lived in the community all this time, how does she not get sick? You know, how
Hmm.
does her husband not get sick? How, like, it just seems weird. And it seems like all of the children of the community go to the clinic during the day. That's sort of like their space to be. And so it's like I got the sense that, okay, so none of the adults in this community catch it. It's just the children that are afflicted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of little questions that don't add up or
Well, I
that lead
mean,
to more questions. But I guess that's the point of a short story or a novella is obviously you don't have the page the the page count to answer everything, or
well,
to flesh out every idea, but you can kind of like put out little teasers and leave it to the reader to figure it out.
well, and like as far as like the toxins and the children impacted, there are quite, these are things that I
Hmm.
don't think you and I necessarily know enough about. But there are um, people that pose questions about, like, what did we learn about the state of our, because this is taking place in, I guess, like Argentinian countryside.
Hmm.
So what did we learn about the state of Argentinian agriculture and its impact on the surrounding citizens? I think in one of the articles somewhere that we have linked, they do reference uh, potential actual problems with, big ag, for lack of a better word,
Hmm. Or
creating an
how they regulate the
yeah,
use of certain poisons or toxins and the
yeah.
disposal of those things.
So creating potentially perhaps unsafe
Mm.
community, unsafe environments for communities, and who knows, maybe it has been impacting children at higher rates. So those are things that, like, I not living in Argentina, I don't know enough of. But
Don't cry for me, Argentina.
okay.
You know I never left you. That's all
Well,
I
I'm
know.
sorry, guys.
That's all I know.
Apologies to our Argentinian listeners.
They probably hate that song. I don't know.
I know they
No
probably
offense meant.
do.
It's just it popped into my head. I had to give it voice.
Were there any other any other things you wanted to discuss, or questions you had, or themes, anything like that that stood out to you?
I was just mainly confused about the ending and what was going on there. And actually, I might now have to find the time to reread, like maybe get the ebook. That's
Mhm.
what you did, right? You have the ebook.
Yeah, I had because I couldn't
Uh,
find it either.
get the ebook. When did you say it was published?
Well, it was published this uh, original was published in 2014, and then the translated work was 2017.
Okay. Get the ebook and reread it, maybe with some of these theories in mind, and maybe I'll be able to find more clues or things that
Yeah,
hint towards that. It
yeah,
was interesting. I mean, I liked it. I liked the concept of the rescue distance.
yeah. What
That was cool.
what did you think of like the format? Because the bulk of this book is just this conversation between these two people. Um,
That probably would have been easier to follow in if I'd been reading it myself because
yeah, okay,
um,
yeah. Um, yeah, well, honestly though, like as I was reading it, it took me a second before I picked up who was who in the
mhm,
story
mhm,
because it's not like there's clear enough indications, at least in the opening pages, where it's like, okay, this is David talking, okay, this is Amanda talking. There are like in most pages that I read, there's italics distinguishing one voice from the other,
mhm,
but it took me a while to pick up on who's who, and I would get confused and forget, oh, I'm reading Amanda. Oh, that's not Amanda, that's David.
mhm.
So it takes a while to sort of get into the groove of it,
And because
but
you said there's no like chapter breaks, right? It's just all.
yeah, there's no chapter breaks because this is what I was telling Ronnie initially. I didn't know. Sorry, guys. I didn't know how short this book was going to be. So I started reading the ebook and I was just reading through it and I was just like, man, this is a really long first chapter. Like, okay. And then as I looked at the progress bar and I was just like, well, shoot, I'm already halfway through. How long is this book? And then I looked and I was like, oh, okay. Well, then I guess I'll get it done.
Yeah,
So I finished it that day. Um, but
it was
yeah,
interesting. Has she
yeah.
written any longer, like long form books?
I think she's primarily a short story writer.
Mm,
So, I don't know. Like a lot of people said, if you like this one, definitely check out. She's got Mouthful of Birds and well, it says she's put out 3 collections of short stories, a novella, and a novel. Which one is the novel? I want to know what the novel is. I don't know. 7 Empty Houses. I think that one might be a short story, but I don't know. I could be wrong. She works with Megan McDowell a lot as her translator.
mm.
So,
You know, as we're sitting here, and you meant I don't know, one of us, I think it was you, mentioned how David keeps saying, we have to, or he's telling when he's talking to Amanda, assuming this was all real, that he's looking for the exact moment when something happened, which we
mhm.
never really know what that moment is. I and kind of gets me to wonder, is that kind of how we all live our lives? We're missing the moments, the important moments,
Yeah.
and we don't even know it. We don't even realize it.
Yeah. I mean, like it's like
Like we're so focused on things that probably don't matter in the big scheme of things that
and in the focusing on the wrong things,
mhm,
we actually miss the critical key moment that is like
mhm,
worth a damn because like
mhm.
as David pointed out, none of this matters. You're missing
Yeah,
the one thing that matters.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I don't really know that we get a sense of what the thing is. I guess like the thing is like I want to know the exact moment when Nina, I don't know. And also, like if Nina is potentially now in David, where's David? Like where
Yeah, that's what
I
that
guess
was my
David hasn't
question.
been there for a long time now, but like
Like, and where is this lady
who's in
getting all
Nina?
like, is there just a stash of souls that are like unhoused souls that she's just plucking to fill? Like, where is she getting all these souls to take the place of the sick person?
Yeah. There is. I feel like it's mentioned somewhere in the beginning, uh, where when the greenhouse lady is talking Carla through how it's gonna work, and she might make reference to that, but or like how it has to be someone nearby, but I don't know. I'd have to go back and read it. I don't remember what she says. Some unassuming dude walking by.
Yeah.
Um,
Interesting story. It was interesting.
it was interesting. And
Mhm.
like I'd be interested. Like I said, I like novellas and short stories. Mouthful of Bird sounds interesting to me. That could be
And for
cool.
being a translated work, because sometimes those don't always work for me because, stuff gets lost in translation.
Yeah,
But this one, you know, like if I hadn't known that it was a translated work, I wouldn't have
yeah,
picked up on anything that felt
yeah,
off.
yeah. Yeah. So it's like I said, it's an old book. Chances are you've probably already read it, but if you haven't, definitely worth a read. It's a very easy read, and
Hmm.
yeah, this is the kind of book that it's like this could be a really cool movie. This could be a cool show. This could
Hmm.
be like you could expand on this world and have so much fun with it. It's such an interesting concept, and so
Definitely.
it'd be cool.
It was so short, actually, that I was coming into this episode. I was like, I don't know what we're going to talk about for. But the cool thing, not just with this, but it's happened with movies too, where I feel like I don't know that I really have a lot to say. But then as we start talking,
Hmm.
and things pop up, like you'll say something that triggers a thought that then leads to something else. So
Yeah,
that's been a cool discovery in this podcasting process, is that
I
sometimes
know.
things just organically develop.
Well, that's what's so tricky about the creepy cocktail hours that we do because you haven't been able to jump on one because normally I always do them at a time when Veronica's still working or in this case traveling home from work now.
Mm.
But it's hard to fill space by myself. It's hard to fill time by myself. I have to bring like a lot of they're very information heavy cocktail hours, so, which is fine. Which by the way, guys, we because I ran out of time this month, we do have a creepy cocktail hour coming up the last day of April, April 30th, which is a Wednesday. I know that's like not necessarily creepy cocktail prime time, but that's the last chance we can do it. And I think in honor of the film Sinners out right now, big hit, we'll do a little bit of chatting about vampires and stuff like that. So come to the creepy cocktail hour if you're
And
part of
I'm
our
the one who's
Patreon.
seen that movie.
She has seen. I haven't seen it yet. I'm trying. I've already been exposed to some spoilers because I can't. Like it's everywhere. It's everywhere online. People are talking about it. It's really nice to see everyone's been very positive about it, and it's doing great.
Like, what's been
And
spoiled?
um,
Well, maybe you shouldn't say. You can tell me,
yeah, I
because
don't.
we don't
Yeah,
want to spoil people that haven't. You can
yeah,
tell me
I don't. But
separately.
yeah, I'm like I
You
said.
know what? When watching the movie, it took me a minute to realize that Michael B. Jordan was playing
Two people.
two people. I was like, dang, they did really good with the casting. They really do look like
You're,
brothers.
you're such a goober.
They really do look like.
Wow,
They
they
really.
found somebody who looks just like him. Nailed it. You dork.
They do look like they could be related.
Dork.
Well,
Uh,
hey, they had them wearing different colored hats, Valerie.
okay.
Like one had a blue hat and one had a red hat.
You're somebody who would be fooled by Clark Kent with the glasses. You're like, where's Superman? Clark, have you seen him? Yeah, no, I want to go see it. I very much want to go see it. I'm probably gonna have to go see it by myself because Alex and I are never gonna like get out to the movies together ever again.
Have
So
mom and dad stay with the boys.
yeah, I need to check in with her. See if she's recovered from her bout of coughing.
Bronchitis.
Yeah. So yeah, interesting book. Very
Mhm.
cool. Worth a read. Worth a reread for
Yeah.
sure because we're a little fuzzy on things, so it's worth looking at it again.
But yeah,
And
I would read something else that she wrote.
yeah, for sure. We at the moment we do not have another book picked out. But we will get one picked out and announce it on our social medias. So you can find us Don't Watch at Night Pod on pretty much everywhere on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky, Just, search Don't Watch at Night and you'll find us. The next movie we have coming up, guys, is we're entering Step Outside Spanish Language Month. So for the month of May, we're going to be looking at movies that are not Spanish language horror and can potentially be other foreign language films. So this first one we're going to look at, I think we decided was Eyes Without a Face because we had access to it. So Eyes Without a Face is an old 1960s French horror film, and it's available on Max, HBO Max, so you can stream it there. We did have a recommendation, a great one for the movie Suspiria, the old one. If we could find it, that'd be awesome. We got to be, I don't know that we'll be able to find it. I don't know that it is streaming anywhere, unfortunately. So, and I don't necessarily want to do the reboot, what's the word? What's her name? Dakota Johnson? I don't necessarily want to do the face. Veronica made a face.
Well, and nothing against her. I just associate her with, what was that movie?
Madam Web?
No. I probably shouldn't say, because if our cousin Nana's listening, she might, because she loved what was that?
Oh, the 50 Shades.
Yes. I associate her with that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nana, no offense. We love you.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's a great reboot. It's just I don't want to see it because I'm like, well, let's see it like the American film. I want to see
the original,
right,
the OG.
So if we can find the OG, definitely. But yeah, we're gonna open the month with Eyes Without a Face. Check it out, and that'll be our next film. That'll be our next episode after this one. Ron, what am I forgetting? Anything?
That I can think of.
Okay. Yeah. So just remember, guys, April 30th is Creepy Cocktail Hour. If you're part of our Patreon, you get those invites. If you're not part of our Patreon, we're going to link it in show notes. It's free to join, and you get one video episode a month. And then if you want, you can join the $3 tier and get things like Creepy Cocktail Hour, which sometimes we open up to everyone, but generally it is a $3 tier perk. And then you get first bid on live shows, which, by the way, Veronica, our Eyes Without a Face one is going to be a live stream. Get ready. We're going to do it live.
Like watching the movie live?
No, we're going to live stream the episode.
Oh.
So, live show, if you will.
We should figure out how to watch a movie live.
Well, I would like to do that with you because the film commentary.
I know people on YouTube do that. There's a way to do it.
Well, you can do it. I think for copyright purposes, the audio of the film needs to not be part of our episode. So like when I did the film commentary episode for The Ghost in the Darkness, I just watched it on mute. I watched it on mute with subtitles because I've seen that movie 100 times. I don't need to see it.
But I see movie review channels do it, and you can hear the audio of the movie. I think there's a certain, you can't show a clip. There's a time limit on how long the clip can be.
Yeah, so it's if we were to do the entire film, I don't know that we can do the entire film.
Well, no, those YouTubers typically do that on their Patreon. So their Patreon can see the full 2 hours or however long the movie is, but I don't.
Yeah. Well, so this live stream that we do is probably not going to be live. It's going to be live for our Patreon people. So again, if you want to be part of that live show, please go join our Patreon. The live show will be free. So go do that. And but yeah, I would love to do if you want to devote an hour and a half of your life to me and do a film commentary episode with me, that'd be great. So we'll have to figure out the movie and figure out the time. God knows we have no time. So has your life slowed down a little bit with the instruction stuff, or you're still going nonstop?
No, still doing that. We had practice last night, and I'm having to find time every night to study at least an hour or two for my certification exam, because that's coming up on May 5th. So it's once I get past that, and hopefully if I pass it, then I'll be able to relax. But right now it's trying to fit.
So by June,
time, because I'm always so tired, and it's not it's the most stimulating stuff to study. So it's trying to stay awake and
Yeah.
having it sink in.
Maybe now you need to get into caffeine.
Well, I mean, I drink caffeine, just not in coffee form.
That's true. That's true. You do drink your teas and your
Not in coffee form.
what was I gonna
You
tell
know
you?
what? I was commenting this just last night. You know how in the stores they sell like the canned cold coffee, canned iced coffee?
Cold brew. Cold
Yeah.
brew.
Why don't they do that for chai tea?
They might.
No, I've been looking at them. They don't. It's all coffee, coffee, coffee.
Not
Not everybody drinks coffee, people.
Well, I do want to just chai is the word for tea. So when you
Yes.
okay,
I know.
maybe I don't know, but you can brew your own and then just stick it in the fridge.
It's not, but what if I'm like zipping into the, like today, driving home from work, I was like really fighting falling asleep while driving. And I was like, how cool would it be
Well,
if I
that's
could
not
just,
good, Veronica.
it's not,
You
but
need to pull over.
how cool would it be if I could just like pull into a convenience store and grab a hot chai? I mean, not hot chai, an iced chai. But no, because I don't always want to drink soda because that makes me feel bloated.
Okay. Do you drink tea? Like hot tea?
I don't really like, well, in the winter.
Okay, so
Like,
you will drink a hot tea in the
yeah.
winter. Okay. So I thought maybe that you just like don't you just prefer your teas to be iced. So
No, just because
yeah.
right now it's hot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in the winter, I
Well,
drink my
I'm one
hot.
of those weirdos who I like, anytime I go in through a drive-through getting a coffee, they're like, "Do you want that iced?" And always, it can be 100 degrees outside. I'm like, "No, I don't want it iced." I will always drink my hot coffee because if I order it iced, I I down it by the time I'm pulling out of the driveway. Like I just suck it down. So I want my coffee to last. It's like this tea is so delicious. I don't know if you were paying attention, but I was like chugging it on the live stream because it's so good.
No, I didn't even notice.
I was, it's very good. You have to try it. I didn't know if you were into tea, like hot teas or not, but this is tasty. I
I
like it.
do. Like when I was working from home for Christmas, Robert even gave me, because I was always complaining that when I would make my cup of hot chai, it would, gets cold. And then you have to either keep warming it up or just not let it get cold. So he had bought me like this electronic mug warmer that now not going to be using very much.
Oh,
I guess I could take it to work, but
yeah.
yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, that wraps up our show then. Nice little, nice tight episode. Watch Eyes Without a Face and follow us on social media so you get news when we drop our announcement on our next book club pick. And we don't worry, we give you plenty of time to read that book so that you can be part of book club discussion episode later on down the pipe. And I guess that's it, Ron. Yeah. All right. Any other announcements before we go?
No, can't think of any.
All right, my friends. Well, thank you so much. What the hell was that?
It's Eyes Without a Face by Billy Idol. You use that on the social media posts when you're posting about the movie.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening, everybody, and we will see you next time.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. Bye. I'm done.
Bye.
Don't Watch at Night is a Nest production hosted by me, Veronica, and Valerie. Editing by Valerie. Music by Omar Chakor. Production support for this episode provided by Lorenzo Villarreal and Alex Street. Listen to new episodes of Don't Watch at Night every other Monday, and don't forget to give us a rate and review. It's the best way to help us grow.